right, y'all. Welcome back and happy Wednesday. Today we're going to be breaking down Tennessee's draft eligible prospects for the upcoming draft 2026. I'm just going to be highlighting the players that I think will actually get drafted. We got some guys that I think could go on the first 2 days. And then I think that we'll have several more players that will be very, very close to getting drafted. But the talent level has stepped up a lot for this team. We also have several other players that in future drafts, they're probably going to end up being first round picks as well. But y'all please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Later on tonight, we're going to be going live for our midweek chat at about 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will have my dog, Ruck from Straight Up Tennessee, joining us. Y'all make sure to go check out his channel. He has great content, and he's, trying to get that growing. And then also, hopefully, Timmy G and J Pack can join us as well. We're going to be very heavy in the chat, talking about Tennessee football, SEC, some players that could maybe win a couple of accolades, so on and so forth. But yeah, we do hope that y'all can join us for that. Y'all please do make sure to like and subscribe. And let's start it off right here with the players that I think can go in the first 2 rounds. So understand this. There's a lot of mock drafts out there. And it's pretty much just like you and I doing it, right? Like if it's not coming from a Mel Kiper or somebody that does this year round, I personally take it with a grain of salt because anybody can put stuff out there. And what I've noticed is like most of the mock drafts is based off of Mel Kiper's preseason mock draft, where I think he put that out on maybe like August the 29th. So put it out before he really watched any games. That list, his first round grades and all that, that's going to be changing. So just understand that. But we know this team very well. We know what the NFL scouts, coaches, and GMs are looking for the most part. Mainly going to be about measurables. It's going to be about speed. How does your game translate to the next level? It's not so much about the stats. So please understand that. And I'm just more so looking at like draft grades, not so much exactly where the players will get picked, because some guys could have a very high draft grade and they might not get picked in that spot. It's just really all on how things fall. There's a lot of politics that goes into it. We've seen players get kind of like, blackballed out of getting picked about where they should have gotten picked just because, they didn't, something personal or whatever. That happens all the time. So I'm just talking about those draft grades. And we have the defense separate from the offense. But we're going to be starting off with the defense. And I would say the Colton Hood, man, at cornerback, 6 feet tall, 195 pounds. That's like prototype cornerback size. Whenever he transferred in from Colorado, we took a look at his film. We said as an outside corner, his coverage skills look great. Inside corner looks good there. He has a tendency to kind of get lost, but he does have some versatility. And he might be a little bit taller than 6 feet tall. Might be closer to like 6'1", has very long arms. That length is something that they're looking for. He's going to test very well at the NFL Combine. He's a 4.3 guy for sure. He has some savviness with the way that he's covering players. He's shown more physicality for sure, like over the past couple of weeks. So I think that he has it all. His numbers will back that up. All the numbers that we're looking at, y'all, is going to be based on like a national level. But as far as the quarterback rating that he's been giving up so far this year, 18.4. That's number 4 in the country amongst cornerbacks. And I tried to filter it out with just players with like 100 or more snaps. Only want to focus on just like starters. But so yeah, he's very high up from that standpoint. That's a great number. All of his numbers look really good. And then, as far as, how many passes he's given up in coverage, 31.8%, number 5 in the country. Forced incompletions, he has 5 of them. That's number 10 in the country. And he has 2 interceptions, which is number 4 in the country. Again, this is just with cornerbacks. Tyler Redmond, as a true freshman, he's very high up on most of these categories. So Coach ET, man, like you got to tip your cap to him. He's doing a great job with our corners. He's been here for like the past few years. He's kind of like taking a step up with his role for our team. I think for the past couple of years, we've seen the fruits of his labor out there with our cornerbacks. So we got to find a way to hold on to Coach ET. But yeah, I think that Colton Hood is probably a lock for the first 2 rounds. Just keep on playing how he's playing, and he will more than likely be a first-round draft pick at cornerback. So next guy at defensive end, we have Joshua Josephs at 6'3", 240 pounds. So he's going to be under the NFL target size with his height and with his weight. Typically, the defensive ends are a lot bigger, closer to about 270 plus. And then his height, they're close to about 6'5". Now, there are some defensive ends like Micah Parsons. I think he's about 6'3", but he's got a great first step. He's really strong, so on and so forth. So you can get away with it with that height. I think also that, with Joshua Joseph, he has very long arms. He's probably got a wingspan of about 6'7", 6'8". So that's going to look good for him. He has to keep on building off what he's already done. So far this year, he has 4 sacks, which is tied for 7th place in the entire country. His pressure rate is at 15.9%. That's number 47 in the country. James Pierce, who bigger player, right? 6'5", 245, a lot closer to Caleb Herring, who we'll get to in just a second. But his pressure rate last season was at like 23.4%, 23.1%. It was the highest in the whole country. But his sacks, he wasn't closing as well as Joshua Joseph's is. So it's mainly just going to be about getting the sacks. Can you win? Can you stop the run? So on and so forth. But also, all of our Leos, they play out in space. That's a big deal, especially if you're a smaller player. You got to show that you can drop into coverage and that you can move around well out in space, which I think that Joshua Joseph will show all that. He's probably going to test pretty well at the NFL Combine. I'd say he's about a 4.5-ish guy, like lower 4.6, higher 4.5 sort of a player, but he could get even faster than that. Obviously, once they get a chance to go and train, you could always get those numbers better. So, not going to be the best with the like measurables outside of probably like some of like testing stuff. He'll probably also test pretty well with the off the field stuff. Now, next player is going to be Tyree West, who plays strong side end for us at 6'3", 290 pounds. At a strong side end, right? So that would be more of like a 3-down defensive end for the NFL. A little bit bigger than what they really want. I heard that he's gotten down to about 270. So that's about good, like weight there. It's pretty decent height. He has pretty good length, very, very twitchy. He's going to be good at stopping the run, setting the edges, really good like pass rusher. But he could also maybe bump inside and play some at like a 3 technique, which they're looking for about 6'3", 315. So he's not quite big enough there. He's kind of like a tweener. But I think that teams will really like him. If he just keeps on playing how he's playing, there's a lot to like about him. Could be a first two day guy, or could go. I mean, I feel like all these players here, they're going to end up getting drafted somewhere. He could end up going later, just based off of what his measurables look like, and how well does the rest of the season go. But as of right now, I think he's a first 2 day sort of a player. So his sacks, he has 3 of them. That's number 22 in the country. His pressure rate is at 15.3, number 57 in the country. Now we have Caleb Herring, who's 6'5", 245. Like we said, he looks a lot like James Pierce. Doesn't have the same first step. Might be a little bit stronger at the point of contact, possibly. Looks pretty good playing out in space, but he's got to do a much better job at stopping the run. He crashes inside way too much. I don't know if it's part of our scheme or what, but if he can stop doing that, I feel very confident in saying he's going first 2 days, because from a pass rushing standpoint, he's looked very, very good. Again, it's, you can look at these players and say, well, on some of these players, they're not getting blocked or whatever. It doesn't too much matter. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I'm not going to say that he's been lucky, because he's done some good things, but on some of the plays, he just flat out hasn't been getting blocked. But he does have 4 sacks. That's tied for number 7. His pressure rate, 14.8%. That's right at number 58. So that's right up under Tyree West. But I definitely feel like he's going to, ultimately end up getting drafted this year. So let's talk about offense. Number 1, Chris Brazzell at 6'5", 200 pounds, playing at wide receiver. He's a guy that had a ton of drops last season. He's cleaned that up. Now with our new scheme, with the new wrinkles to our scheme, he's running a full route tree. NFL scouts will love that. We talked about Dante Thornton. Part of the reason I think that he didn't go as high is because he was mostly running like 2 routes. Now, he did run like a full route tree, but it just wasn't as consistent as what we're doing this season. So that should definitely help out Chris Brazzell, with the size, with the length. I would say that pretty similar from like a size standpoint as Dante Thornton. Dante Thornton's going to be the faster player, but Chris Brazzell has a, like wider catch radius, longer arms. He can high point footballs better. He's been snagging on folks, mossing people. He's going to test very well. I think he's a sub 4.5 guy, so running in the 4.4s, maybe even 4.3s. But so far, he's leading the country in touchdowns, which is huge. He has 7 of them, and he's also number 2 in the entire country with yards. Number 1 in the SEC. We all know how tough this schedule is that we're playing. It's much better competition that all of our guys have faced versus the rest of the country. So, yeah, he's doing a great job. I think he's almost a lock at this point to be a first-round draft pick. He also blocks well, so just keep on doing what he's doing. He should go in the first round. Well, should be one of the first wide receivers taken. There should be several to get taken in the first round. Now, at number 2, we have Lance Hurd, offensive tackle, 6'6", 330 pounds. I know that there's a lot of mock drafts that have the 2 kids from Utah playing at tackle in the first round. I've watched almost all their snaps so far this year, watched a lot of it, well, really all of it versus Texas Tech. That's the only real team that they've even played with like true dudes rushing a passer. And number 55, who has the highest grade, he's playing at right tackle. He's listed at like 6'6", 302. He's not that big. To me, he looks more like 6'4", maybe under 300 pounds. And also his arms aren't super long. I think he's more of a guard. So watch out for that as the season kind of like wears on. You'll probably, once the real mock draft people come out, like the real draft analysts come out and start talking about draft grades, they'll probably say, hey, he looks like more of a guard to us. Very quick with his feet, doesn't always use it well. There were some times when he got absolutely torched versus Texas Tech. That hasn't happened to Lance Hurd. Lance Hurd is prototype everything. He's tall, he's long, he's mean, he can great job with the run block, and he just has great like pass protection moves. He's burying folks. He looks good. Everything that you're looking for, he has it. So as far as the pressure rate, 1.7% on the season. That's number 8 in the country. As a point of reference, the kid from Utah with the highest draft grade, he's at number 19. Is it like 2% or something like that? So there is a difference. Neither one of the players have given up any sacks. Lance Hurd, he's tied at number 1 for sacks given up. So he's having a really good year. But I think that whenever it's all said and done, he's a first round guy. Like, especially understanding the level of talent that they're facing, the way that he's been playing. There's more pro style elements to the drops that we're doing, so on and so forth. He can pull, just everything. So I see him as a first round guy. Over these next couple of games, y'all, if he keeps on playing well, you'll hear more of these draft analysts, especially if some real ones come out and they start to talk about their draft grades. You'll hear Lance Hurd mentioned in the first round. I guarantee it. He's that good. He's having a great season. So next, at number 3, we have guard Wendell Moy, 6'2", 330, very versatile. He can play on the right side or on the left side. He's played so far this year on the right side. He's more of a left guard, probably, but maybe even in the NFL, might be more of a right guard, but he shows that versatility. And he's going to be like a shade up under the prototype size, especially as far as height goes. But he's super fast. He has very long arms, and he's just like outrageously strong. He's one of the strongest human beings that I've ever seen playing football. And I sincerely mean that. Like, he's moving bodies effortlessly, and he has good feet and just everything. Run blocking, pass blocking, looks really, really good. Now, typically guards don't get drafted in the first round, sometimes in the second round if you've got like a super high grade. So typically the guys that go in the second round that are guards, they would have like a first round grade. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, the grades don't necessarily translate to where you're going to be getting picked at. And if that tackle from Utah, like, just is like one of the people that right now he's a tackle, if they say, hey, he's more of a guard, then that's going to bump Wendell Moy down some. But I think that his grade would be first, 2 rounds for sure. He has everything. So as far as his numbers, pressure rate 2.2%, which is number 46 in the country, but turn on the film looks a lot better than that. Some of the stuff is going to be really probably more on some different players, like the center not picking stuff up, maybe sometimes like a tackle not picking things up. And then also he's given up 0 sacks, which is tied for first place. And then we have Mod, who as a cornerback hasn't played so far this year, but once he comes back, I think that he'll play well. He should be a first 2 round sort of a player also. So again, shouts out to Coach ET. Now, this is everybody else that I see getting drafted for our Tennessee Volunteers this year. Bryson Eason, Don Bailey playing up front. Bryson Eason would be more of like a 3 technique. He has the size there. Again, you're looking for about 6'3", 6'4", 315, very twitchy. He has that. He's had a tough year. He's played well, but it's been tough on him just because he's had more snaps than what he typically would. He's been getting double teamed more than he typically would just because we have Don Bailey, who's more of a strong side and bumping to the inside. But now the other 2 tackles who we have at number 4 and number 5, David Hobbs, Jackson Moore, they're coming back as they get more acclimated to getting more snaps. He's going to get Bryson Eason. He's going to get more just like single blocking. He's going to start to flash more and more. And plus, he's going to be in better shape, obviously, because he's had so many reps so far this year. So he'll be stronger over the course of the game. And I think that his draft stock, he's probably like a 3rd or 4th round sort of a player as far as what I'm looking at right now. Don Bailey, he's like a tweener because he plays strong side in. He's a bigger guy, 6'3", 290. Like very similar to a Tyree West. As a defensive end, I don't know if he's like twitchy enough to be an NFL draft pick necessarily, but as a 3 technique, if he could gain like 25 pounds, then yeah, he looks pretty, really even more than that. But, he would look pretty good there. It's just a question of where do the NFL scouts see him out. But I think he will get drafted somewhere. Someone's going to pick him up. Arion Carter playing at linebacker. He's got pretty good size, so about 6'1", 6'2", 230. He's going to test very well. He's got to get the turf toe thing figured out, but I think that he will test well. He's looked pretty good out in coverage, out in space. Since he's been playing at Tennessee, he should get drafted somewhere. David Hobbs, Jackson Moore, like we talked about. David Hobbs, he's a taller, longer player, 6'5", 290. I could definitely see him getting picked up. But again, playing at like a 3 technique, going to be tough because he's not as big as what they're looking for. So I don't know, but Jackson Moore, he's another one, should be able to get drafted. Like the first 5 players, I feel very confident that they will get drafted. J-Mac, maybe. He's looked really good in coverage. He's played inside corner, outside corner. He's an older player. The scouts don't always love that, but he has the skills that he can get drafted. So we'll see how everything kind of plays out. And then at number 7, these guys I'm not quite sure, but Star Thomas, as far as the running backs go that Tennessee has, he's probably like the closest to being an NFL back. He's played more in like NFL systems, but we're doing a lot more of that this year. So he's more acclimated to it than some of the other guys. Bishop's starting to pick it up, but I could see him catching the football, running with patience, showing that burst, being a bigger guy, blocking. looks pretty good there. So I could see him maybe getting drafted in the later rounds. Joey Aguilar, my player comp for him is going to be Tony Romo. I think at about 6'2", 230 for both of them. Very similar. They're both gunslingers. They both have, Joey Aguilar, his arm is pretty big. Tony Romo had a cannon. I would say that, they both throw a lot of interceptions, kind of unlucky. The interceptions, most of them that Joey's thrown this year, it's not really on him, but it doesn't really matter. Like the scouts are looking at that too. Like, are you lucky? Are you unlucky? Especially playing a quarterback. It's not the best look if you're unlucky, but their pocket presence is also really good. Again, I would say that Tony Romo probably a little bit more unlucky and also better pocket presence. He has a quicker throwing motion. He also has a much stronger arm, but very, very similar. And I think that that's a comp that we need to try to push more with Joey Aguilar, because I think that that looks good for NFL scouts, coaches, and GMs. Tony Romo, I mean, in the regular season, he's one of the best NFL quarterbacks ever. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. I think that he will ultimately end up getting drafted. He's used to playing in more of like a pro style system, so that definitely helps him out. But they're really just like looking for, hey, do you have a really strong arm? Which his arm is pretty close to it. It's not like the strongest arm. He's not the most accurate guy. He's not the fastest guy. Like nothing that he does really is going to wow you. But there is something to be said about just making plays. So I think that he will ultimately at some point end up getting drafted. Bishop maybe could get drafted. He might need to wait one more year unless he finishes the rest of the season very strong. But he could, just based off of how many running backs are there out there. I mean, running back, there's not a huge premium on running backs just because you can find them pretty much everywhere. But he could maybe go this season. And then we have Andre Turrentine at safety. Maybe, I know people were pretty down on Tank, but he's played well for the Rams so far. I say that Andre Turrentine probably a little bit better in coverage, not as good in like run support. But if he keeps on, if he can build off of what he's done for like the past couple of weeks, I could see him definitely getting drafted. Then Jeremiah Telander, he's the son of an NFL coach. So maybe sometimes it's not always what you know or what you can do, but like who you know, that definitely helps you out, especially these days. That's a huge thing. So I think that he could maybe go. But for linebackers, biggest thing is going to be, can you play out in space? Like NFL linebackers, right? Like you got to be able to play out in space. Not seeing a ton of that. He has gotten better with it this season, but I'm not sure. So I'm putting him as like a cusp, kind of like fringe player that might get drafted. He'll definitely end up getting picked up by somebody. Somebody's gonna, if he goes like undrafted, he will get picked up by somebody. So that's it for me. Okay, y'all please share your thoughts down in the comment section. Also, again, y'all, we will be going live tonight at about 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the midweek chat. Okay, we're gonna have Ruck from Straight Up Tennessee joining us. Hopefully, Timmy G and J Pat are gonna be very, very heavy in the chat. We want to hear from y'all. Also, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll be talking to y'all a little bit later on tonight. Thanks, peace. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that keeps us growing inside the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.